The coal mining industry has contributed much to the economy of Greene County in the past 100 years. Many small communities, known as company towns, have grown up around the mine entrances, with houses built on property owned by the mining company and rented to the men who worked in the mines. The town of Mather was not a typical coal company town, but was considered a model community and a pleasant place to live.
And I think what's missed the most is the closeness of the people. Everybody knew you and spoke to you, and like I say, in the evening the kids would gather and maybe just hang around, talk, play games, because you had supervision. There was somebody on nearly every porch in the evening. The store, they sold furniture and garden tools, household things. Mather's store was completely, you could go there for anything you needed. And most families didn't have a car. They didn't need one. The post office was there, the theater was there, and the drugstore, and anything you needed was at the company store. Well, as I said, they had the football team, they had the baseball team, they had the hockey team. The company put together a band. Well, we had a nice school system. We had a nice schoolhouse that's no longer there, 8 grades, and had a large playground. It was just a nice place to be.
At the Mather Collieries mine on the rainy Saturday afternoon, May 19, 1928, at 4:04 p.m., a shift of 211 miners were working in the north section in a shaft 350 feet underground when a furious explosion rocked the mine. A muffled boom, a long distance off, then a rush came with the mine blasts, then quiet.
Well, I knew that something terrible had happened at the mine, because my mother and I were just ready to go into the company store, and the whistle blew. And as soon as the whistle blew, my mother dropped my hand and grabbed her heart and said, "Oh no," and then this big puff of smoke came out. And there was no going to the store. She grabbed a hold of me and ran down and left me at home and went down to the mine entrance. And that's the thing that I remember.
Me and my brother had been fishing. We didn't know what it was. We seen that smoke coming out.
The day that the mine blew up, I was swimming at the creek, what they call the old Charlie Miller's hole. They had a trolley bridge where the trolley used to haul rock and dump it, sleigh dump. Well, I was walking across that bridge, which is right next to the mine, and the whistle started to blow and blow. And of course, 9, 10 years old, you didn't understand. So I hurried up and went home, which I didn't live very far from the mine. I lived maybe 500-600 yards. I hurried up and come in the yard, and I saw my dad sitting on the steps. He'd just come out of the mine. He was there taking his shoes off, and I says, "What's the whistle blowing for, Pap?" He said, "See that smoke coming out of the air shaft?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Something wrong with the mine." And then I found out that it blew up. 198 men killed.
During the explosion, when it was a curiosity, people were coming in to just see what had happened. And there was, they called them coal police, that rode up and down the streets, and they stopped visitors at the bridge.
Back then the Mather Church was used as a
Morgue.
USO. Well, the morgue was at the furniture room, but the company store would send food over to the church, and they would feed the workers, the rescue people, and everybody. Mather Church was where they fed up everybody, and then the morgue was in the bowling alley.
Families of the miners gathered at the mine's main office located near the center of the town, anxious but fearful to learn the fate of their husbands, fathers, and brothers trapped below.
The thing that I remember from the Mather mine explosion was all those people in our houses, as I mentioned, but the hearses. I can remember seeing those hearses lined from Mather Square, where the Liar Stand is now, all the way to the Jefferson Cemetery, which is right across the street. And I can remember seeing all those hearses with all those bodies. It was pretty devastating.
Well, I remember a lot of the funerals over at Mather in the machine shop. That's where they had the morgue. They had the bodies. They brought them out in there and identify them. You know, and there would be maybe 2 or 3 funerals a day after that.
Frank Dunbar needed miners to work in the mine because most miners were afraid to go in that mine after the explosion.
When they come out there in September, they
And then
were
it's
going to come back work next day. That was it. The miners didn't even know it was going to close.
I can remember looking across the way and seeing Route 188 as a child. And then the gold pile just kept growing and growing and growing. Pretty soon you had a mountain.
It was a byproduct of a coal mine that had shut down in 1964. And besides being an environmental hazard, it was a problem waiting to happen. In cooperation with DEP and MRS, we decided to make it a reclamation project, which meant that the product would be spread out over the entire 50 acres. It would be taken down roughly 100 feet to a level of 980 feet above sea level and capped with topsoil and seeded, mulched, along with some riprap along 10 Mile Creek. It's being funded through a public-private partnership, the private partnership being the Mather Recovery System in cooperation with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection through a Growing Greener grant. Ever since early spring, the community of Mather, along with this office, the Greene County Planning Department, the Greene County Conservation District, Morgan Township, and other residents down there have been meeting to come up with a game plan as to what it may end up being.
How much script did you get? How much script did you get?